Hey everybody, welcome to the Game Informer Show, a weekly podcast covering the video game industry. Join us each and every Thursday for a discussion about the latest gaming news, reviews, and exclusive reveals alongside Game Informer staff and special guests from around the industry. I am your host, Marcus Stewart. Alex Van Aken out on special super secret assignment, but I am joined by the incredible Kyle, king of the Hilliard. I almost said your last name again, like Hilliard. But then I realized that the middle part is the nick, like it's king of the parentheses and then Hilliard.
Oh, like the Mike Judge show. It's what you're getting at, right?
I was talking about the Halo.
The
multiplayer.
Game. Oh,
yeah, that's what people think of first.
Which is
or
based on a childhood game.
Right?
Yeah, Halo didn't invent that.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure, yeah.
Okay, just making sure. Well, you would know. You're the Halo, Mr. Halo. How are you doing, Kyle?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, I have some good games to talk about today. I played good games for once in my life, you guys. No, this year's been awesome. There's been tons of good games this year.
I'm glad to hear it. Someone else that has probably played good games as well is Charles Harte. How are you, sir?
Hello, I'm good. I'm Charles Harte. I'm your associate editor, and then today I'm also vocal coach and songwriter.
Oh God, right?
Yes.
Because I won a bet. Because I said Fortnite would be at Summer Game Fest, and I was right.
First of all, Charles,
you were right.
I know.
Yeah, Charles, I want to clarify. We won a bet. Okay, I did not lose either.
That's true.
Okay, we shared this victory.
But I came in first, right? I got 2 right, or did we each get 1?
You won it more than you won the bet more than I did, but I also won. I guess is what I'm saying.
Sure. Because you didn't lose.
What Charles is referring to, folks, is that this is episode 664 of the Game Informer Show, right? And the reason I bring up the episode number is that I have been listening to the Game Informer Show since its inception, from Matt Helgelson to Ben Hansen, to Tim Turry, to Ben Reeves, to the Alexes, to I guess now me. And I'm going to wager, and I haven't listened to every episode, but I've listened to damn near most of them. I don't think we've ever had a musical performance on an episode of the Game Informer Show, like an honest to goodness, like song and dance number. I don't know if you're gonna dance, but I'll leave it up to you.
Yeah.
I think you specifically said you didn't want to dance many times.
Well, he says that, but we'll see once he gets into the groove. It might just happen.
We'll see.
Folks, I'm referencing that this is the day has come. Kyle Hilliard, if you remember, lost the Summer Games Fest challenge a couple of weeks back, where he had the three of us made our predictions for Summer Games Fest. Kyle's predictions were all really wrong and incorrect.
Were they all really wrong? I
you got
guess.
none right, Kyle. You got 0 correct.
I gotta find the notes. I don't know if I have them anymore. I think I deleted them in anger.
You balled up your digital notes and threw them in the. You clicked and dragged them into the recycle bin, and then you emptied the recycle bin, and you were seething the
hell
entire
out of that thing.
So the punishment we decided would be that Kyle would have to perform one of Charles's lunchtime songs, which, for context, because this is a very inside baseball thing, in the Game Informer work Slack, every time Charles goes to lunch, anytime any of us go to lunch, we all just kind of say we're going to lunch. Like, I just put the word lunch, and sometimes I'll put an exclamation mark if I'm really excited about what I'm going to eat. But Charles he goes the extra mile, where he writes song parodies about going to lunch. Like, he just takes songs and rearranges the lyrics so that it tells everyone he's going to lunch. He's basically Weird Al. It's kind of the second coming.
I'm basically Weird Al, and no one's talking about it.
It's kind of weird. Yeah, we should get Weird Al on the show.
They should just call me Weird Charles from now on.
There we
Strange
go. It's
Chuck.
Just to clarify.
I like Strange Chuck better, actually. Yes.
That's awful and good.
So Kyle is going to have to perform one of these amazing songs. So this is the first time that people outside of Game Informer will be exposed to it. So no more added pressure, Kyle. It's that you have to make Charles's art look great. And the song we decided was that you were going to be covering Escape from the City from Sonic Adventure, is it 2? 2, right? Yeah.
Come on, Marcus. The game where the first level is escaping from the city.
Listen, I'm in the camp of thinking those 2 Sonic Adventure games are bad. So come at me, everyone.
But this one song.
You just had to be there, right? It's like one of those
kind of
things.
I was there. I saw the Dreamcast. I didn't own one because I knew better, but you know, I never liked those games. But so yeah, that'll be coming up shortly. The other thing I'm going to point out, another historic milestone, is that this will be the last episode that I'll be recording probably with this computer. Because remember last week when I was talking about buying a new PC, I have since purchased that PC, guys.
Congratulations.
And it's on its way. It's supposed to actually. It's the earliest it's supposed to come is today. So if there's a knock on the door and you see me rush out of the room without warning, it's because I'm going to be signing a little clipboard to be like, here's my new machine. So I'm going to be part of the PC master race. They've invited me in with open arms. A historically welcoming and understanding community is what I've been told. So it's going to be great. I'm excited. And I just want you guys to be excited for me.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Man, you're going to have so much fun troubleshooting. Like, it's going to take up so much of your time. It's going to be so cool.
Yeah.
It's like, I just want to play this game, but what if I could change settings for 20 minutes beforehand every time?
Or you get it and it doesn't turn on. And then you spend an hour being like, why didn't it turn on?
Then you got to just make sure the motherboard didn't get loose, which happened to me one time. I had to tighten up the motherboard.
How did that? Oh God! No.
It just got loose in shipping, and it was a disaster when I took it out of the box because I was like, it's not even turning on. I can't even Google computer doesn't turn on. And but then I found out it was just some components had gotten loose, thankfully. So.
Okay, well, I had none of those fears or anxieties, so
you'll be fine. I have bad luck with those things, so you'll have better luck. You're smarter than me, so.
Okay.
Is there like a game or thing that you wanted to do with your current PC that you couldn't, that now you'll have access to? Like, is there anything you've unlocked with this level up?
It's funny. I think Alex asked this question last week, and I think my answer was a blunt no. And I don't think that has changed in the last week. I mentioned it's like not growing up with a PC. Even I just am used to not thinking about that stuff. Being a console gamer for most of my life. And like I've had like gaming capable PCs. This is actually my first desktop PC. I've only had laptops, by the way. So I got like an honest to goodness tower coming.
Are you in a laptop right now?
I've been in a laptop this whole time.
Whoa.
It's like a gaming capable laptop, but yeah, I've always had a laptop. I never would have guessed. Yeah. Does that change your opinion of me? The way you said, I never would have expected that from you.
Honestly, it improves it because I'm like, man, this guy's so professional, and he's on a laptop. He's not even on like a big boy computer. Like, dang,
so professional.
Man, he really knows what he's doing.
Thank you. But yeah, no, it's just gonna be nice to be able to play more games and not worry about it, and also stream better. Like that's kind of it. I'm sure once I get used to it, and maybe people will send me messages being like, hey, you should do this like wild thing, overclock. Like, I'm just gonna say words that I've heard PC people use without context. Like, you should overclock that thing and run diagnostics.
Yeah, you can do that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna be running so many diagnostics, guys. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna watch that video of Henry Cavill building a PC shirtless for inspiration.
Well, hold on. He has a shirt on in that footage, I think.
I thought he took his shirt off at one point.
I love how confident you were about that, Kyle. Like, you're so familiar with this Henry Cavill PC building video. You're like, there's no way his shirt's off there.
I thought he had his shirt off.
He's missing sleeves. He's showing off the guns.
He's missing sleeves.
Yeah, he lost them.
Misplaced his sleeves.
He can't find them.
And so he had to build a PC instead. He's like, I was going to find my sleeves today, and I can't, so I guess I'll build a computer.
We've all been there.
So, yeah. Also, this will be the last episode where I have a wisdom tooth because I like almost immediately after this episode I got to go to the dentist to get a wisdom tooth taken out, which is why we're recording this earlier than normal because it might have been fun to have recorded this like post dentistry and see how if you want to on the video version see blood pouring out of the corner of my mouth as I'm talking about
if that's
video
happening,
games.
Marcus, like something went wrong. Blood should not be pouring out of your mouth. I mean, some blood is unavoidable, but pouring out of your mouth, like
Okay, is that when I call them back and say, "Hey, what happened?"
And they'll be
assuming you can talk, you know.
Okay. Also, I need some advice. I have been told, and I've had a wisdom tooth. I've had two teeth taken out before. For the first time, I have been offered to get knocked out with the gas, which I didn't even know was ever on the table. But I guess this one place I'm going to is like, hey, you can opt for that. And
What
I'm
did you
still
get
like
knocked out with
deciding like,
before?
should I do that? It was just Novocaine. Like I've always been present for like.
Okay, but wait. Are you said I've got like you've had teeth pulled before?
Yeah, I've had two teeth taken out before.
But this is your first wisdom tooth?
No, my second. I've had one taken out.
Okay, because I was going to say, for me, and maybe it was just they've improved how these things work, because I think I got my wisdom teeth taken out in like 2005 or something like that. Like, it was like a whole thing. I've had teeth pulled, and it sucks, but it's like fine. But wisdom teeth, I had to be knocked out, and it was like a long period of recovery. Like, I couldn't eat solid food for quite a while. But it sounds like your experience was like much easier.
Yeah, mine were taken out not that long ago, but it was like, I want to say like 8 years ago, something like that. And yeah, it was like, hey, Novocaine. It was like any other procedure, like you're numb, pull it out, and you're good. And then
maybe yours, mine were like embedded too. I think might have been the problem. Like they had to do surgery. They had to cut into the back of my jaw and pull the teeth out. Or maybe yours are exposed. Yeah, maybe that's
mine are exposed. That's why it's coming out. 'Cause they're like, oh, it's kind of coming out a little too far. We should just yank that out.
I mean, if insurance will knock you out, dude, take advantage of it.
Yeah, I had mine out in 2017, and they knocked me out, and it was honestly great because I didn't have to think about it.
Yeah,
and
you're just awake without wisdom teeth all of a sudden.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking about.
But I mean, you do need to be driven home, but.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it's just me. So I was gonna say, is there drowsiness to where that's like dangerous?
You'd probably have to
get
an Uber or something if you don't have anyone available at short notice. That you're suddenly making these plans.
I'm glad you guys are being my dental consultants on this. By the way, I appreciate it.
Have you played Castlevania Symphony of the Night?
Only a million times.
Okay, because that was the other thing about getting my wisdom teeth removed is recovery. For whatever reason, I was just like, I'm going to play Symphony of the Night. And that's where I discovered my love for Symphony of the Night, was recovering from my wisdom teeth surgery. So I was going to suggest the same for you.
Okay. You can play Vampire Survivors, too, the new Symphony of the Night.
There you go.
As they say. Also, shout out, before this, I was watching a little bit of the new No-Clip documentary on Vampire Survivors.
With
shout
the
out
puppet.
to Daniel Dwyer. Yes, I love that so much. I think that's the best thing ever. I need to finish it, but I just want to shout that out. It seems pretty good so far.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think we've put this off long enough, so I think we're just going to jump straight into the musical segment of the show.
We are? Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I figure, Kyle, we just ripped the Band-Aid off. You don't want you dreading it the whole episode. Let's just
that's a good point.
Get it done now.
I can't be talking about Pikmin if, like, I'm just sitting there thinking about having to sing.
Sonic.
Okay.
From the city.
Now, Kyle, are you a musician at all? Like, if I give you some musical terms, are you going to understand what I'm saying?
Probably, yeah.
So, because you're not super familiar with this song, just so you don't get tripped up by
I've played that level probably 2 or 3 times in my life. That's my familiarity with
Should have probably picked the Sonic 06 song. You did the super replay on that.
Yeah.
The words "theirs" and "just" in the first stanza there.
Yep.
Those are both pickup notes.
Okay, I don't know what that means. I thought maybe
So
I would
pickup
know,
note,
but I don't.
A pickup note is when, so like a measure of music, it's all like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, okay.
A pickup note happens right before like the main measure.
Okay.
So it's not.
And 1.
Yeah, so there's not much to eat, and just eat what I want. So just so you know that you gotta prep for it as it's coming. You gotta catch it before
I feel like
it picks up into the thing.
maybe I'm having some like choir PTSD flashbacks because I've had some very strict choir teachers, but I'm almost afraid that if Kyle screws up, you're gonna flip out on
I
him.
know. Charles, I just want you to know, like, I
No,
appreciate
it's-
your confidence and like giving me heads up about these pickup notes and everything, but like this is gonna be like a chaos. Like this is gonna be like bad,
Chaos Emerald.
Okay, I'm not a singer. I play drums,
That's
but
okay,
I'm not
and
a
that's
singer.
okay.
So
You know what you do,
Yeah.
Kyle or Charles? Like I used to have a scary choir teacher when I was a kid, where every time if you went off key, she would throw those like mini Bibles at the person.
oh my god.
Whoa.
That's
Yeah, like she
cool.
had like she had like a box. No, it's not. She had like a box
so
of them,
funny.
and she would literally just chuck them across the room. And one time she
For
hit,
throwing?
yeah, and she was missing fingers too, which was even more impressive. But like she once hit like a girl right in the face because she was like
Wow.
too
Is
high or
is
something
the movie
like that.
Whiplash based on her?
Yeah, J.K. Simmons sat down with her and picked her brain about how to be a jerk, basically.
That's so
So
funny.
if you have any books you want to chuck at the camera whenever Kyle messes up, feel free.
Yeah, I have actually a book of trombone solos behind me. I'll throw that at him.
Okay,
That's my Bible as a trombone player.
gotcha.
So this is this the whole song? This is like 3 verses you've got here.
This is through the first chorus.
What is the chorus of the song?
Follow me,
So
set me free.
but so I'm not even
for
getting
you,
to
it's-
that.
No, you are. It's through that. So you'll do Chinese food. You're my dude.
Okay, all right. All right. Okay, all right. Well, let's get to it. We're talking about this too much.
Okay.
I have a karaoke version that I'm going to play for me, and I'll add it in post. So if you're watching this, listening to this, you should hear it. But Charles and Marcus aren't going to hear this. Okay. And then the karaoke version that I'm using has the old lyrics, right, displayed karaoke style. So I'm gonna try to because I don't know the song very well, so I'm gonna like try to match these things up. All right, we're gonna get to it. Oh God, I apologize in advance. Okay.
Okay, do you want like an intro, like everyone, Kyle, Hilliard?
Nope, that builds it up too much. That makes it too.
I already said it.
Yeah, it's done. All right, so I'm gonna count myself in, which is mostly for me and I'm sorry. What is his name? Why is his name escaping me, Marcus?
Crush
Who
40?
edits the podcast? Why am I?
Oh, Matt Storm.
Matt Storm. I'm sorry, your name slipped my
It's
mind.
like Crush 40. Yeah, I'm sorry.
The stress got to you.
Okay. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, play. All right, escape from the city. And like I said, this. Okay. Woo! Turn it up in my headphones. Oh yeah. Looking around to find things to chew. There's not much to eat. Maybe leftover Chinese. Glad I'm remote because I don't have to pack. Just eat what I want, be it meal or light snack. Oh, wait, okay. This is already a disaster. But really, what should I have? Those Chinese leftovers are not sounding bad. But really, what will it be? Something here because it's all free. Okay, that set me free. Okay. Chinese food, you're my dude. If you're expired, then I'll be so screwed. Make sure to chew, swallow it. Chinese food, you're my dude. If you're expired, then I will be so screwed. Make sure to chew and don't be rude. Swallow it. I think that's it. I really got like way off at some point because I do not know this song.
I'm so excited to listen to this bass with the music.
Really great.
Boy, that was terrible. I really botched that after like the 3rd line. I was like, I think I had the first 2 lines, and then I was like, wait, how does this song work?
You know, I was over the weekend. I found myself in a weird YouTube rabbit hole of watching like compilations of like American Idol auditions and like X Factor and stuff, like the bad ones and whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So I had the moment of like, all right, which of me and Charles, like, who's the Randy Jackson, who's the Simon Cowell, like, who's gonna be the harsh one, and tell Kyle like what everything he did wrong.
That'll be the commenters, I think, right?
Like how, yeah, they're collectively Simon Cowell.
That the internet is the Simon Cowell. Yeah, that's pretty much like a hive mind.
I think I would have had. I mean, I do play drums. I'm not as like practiced as I used to be, certainly. But I think if you had just been like, just make up drums for this song, I would have had a better time than trying to like sing it. Like, because that's at least
I like that idea.
Better understand. Like, once I get the timing, it's like, well, I can just put my own drum beat in here and do whatever I want.
Yeah, we can add that in post, right? Matt, you're listening. You can put like a sick drum beat in there.
Yeah, sorry, Matt's gonna be like, this doesn't line up at all. What was he? He's not even close.
Well, Kyle, don't worry, the next bet I'll choose a better song.
Yes, a round of applause for Kyle. You know, respect. Respect. I'm glad you stuck to your word. I'm sure you'll never make this bet ever again.
No, I'll do it again. Look, Charles. I think that shows up in the video version.
I was gonna say, does that show up? Okay,
I think it does.
Is that a soundboard through Discord? Is that a thing
yeah?
Now?
We have a bunch of stuff in here. They keep doing we always hear the quacks during meetings.
Oh no, is this showing up? I know it's showing
up.
up.
I got watermelon slices on your face.
So I'm not hearing anything, Kyle.
I only see everything on Kyle's face. Like he just has like 50,000 eyeballs. Do you have to get like this? Was it Turbo, like the paid version of Discord?
No, I think there's some in there.
So there's some that are native to the servers, but then if you have Nitro, right? Nitro, you can use from other ones.
Ah, okay. Nice. Alrighty. Well, thank you for enhancing the show even more, Charles. I appreciate it.
If I sing a song in the future, what I'll do, this is an interesting idea. I'll practice beforehand instead of just winging it. How about that, you guys? That'd be a good idea, right?
That was going to be my advice as your vocal coach. Like, hey, have you seen anyone? Maybe you could. There's potential there. You just gotta really. You're a diamond in the rough, Kyle. You gotta really hone it.
Okay.
So, all right. Well, that's enough silly stuff. Let's get down to some real serious business, which is video games. We've been playing quite a few of them. We'll jump into maybe the hottest release of this week, or I guess last week, technically. That being Exoprimal, Capcom's new multiplayer shooter about wearing exosuits and fighting dinosaurs that rain from the heavens. And also time travel. I'm currently...
and also time travel. P.S.
Yes. That's what it says on the back of the box. I'm currently playing it. I'm actually playing it for review right now. I'm hoping to get a review up maybe end of the week. Maybe. We'll see. But I've been playing quite a few matches. I also got to play this pre-release a few times. I know you've played demo or betas of it, Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
Charles, have you had a chance to play it at all in the betas or anything?
I haven't, and also, like, I think every time it showed up in a showcase, I've had to, like, write something else so I mute the stream or something. Like, I don't even really know what the game looks like. So anything you could tell me for the benefit of the audience would be appreciated.
Okay, I'm almost, I feel bad for you, because I'd say the one thing that this game... Actually, I'm going to rephrase that because it's going to sound negative. I will say up front that I'm enjoying the game so far. And I would say one of the best things about it is the visual stuff, because it, like, the image of seeing 1,000 raptors fall from the sky from like a weird bubble and like sliding down skyscrapers, and then your team of like super cool future mechs start blowing them apart and they go flying is amazing. It's so stupid looking.
It's the promise of Dynasty Warriors, at its greatest visual fidelity crossed with dinosaurs, and it works.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Dynasty Warriors,
there you go.
if you will.
Yeah, I'd say the game, it's a multiplayer-only game, and it's a lot like Overwatch in the sense that it's 2 teams of, I believe, 5. There's different classes from attacks, supports, tanks. You can switch classes at any time during a battle, and it's like a co-op race where like your team is racing against the other team that you don't come into contact with regularly, and you're both trying to complete the same objectives and see who can do it the fastest. And those objectives change with each match, but like the bulk of all of them is that you're going to be assaulted by hundreds of dinosaurs all the time. You're running down different lanes and routes, and they're like, hey, raptors are falling in, and here's pterodactyls, and here's a giant triceratops. Kill those stupid things. Send them back to the Cretaceous period. And you blow those things apart, And there's other little objectives along the way. Like I said, there's an Overwatch style, like, hey, transport the payload. And there's one where it's almost like a boss rush, where they'll just throw 3 of the, like, the big dinosaurs have, like, they're pretty much little bosses. They have, like, giant health bars of, like, here's a giant Triceratops, here's a T-Rex, here's a, I forget the other one, but it's like T-Rex adjacent, basic Carnivorosaurus, I want to say it's called, something like that.
They're all based on real dinosaurs, right? There's not like a lot of fictional dinosaurs, so to speak. You know.
I hate the I forget the name of them, but you know the ones that have like the dome skull heads that like ram you.
Ankylosaurus?
I believe that's right.
No, I think Ankylosaurus.
They have the tails.
Ankylosaurus are the ones that look like armadillos.
Yeah, because I like
not those. You know the ones
my name is in it.
Yeah, it's not those, but you know the one that it's almost sort of like raptor shape, but it's got skull's exposed.
In Lost World, Pete Postlethwaite called them Elvis, or something. No, not Elvis. He had a name for them.
Remember in Lost World, it rams the car.
Yeah,
and the guy flies on the other side of it. Yeah. But anyways, those things are a pain in the ass. They knock the hell out of you. I got killed because one like knocked me off of a map and I died. But
Stygimoloch.
Thank you.
Or Pachycephalosaurus.
That too. I forget what they're called in the game, but yeah. So yeah, you get like a boss rush of those. But I think there were a lot of questions about this game. I know there's been some beta, some people have had like a taste of it, but it was just so weird, and some people have been sort of disappointed that it's not a Dino Crisis game. And I feel like, I don't know if people have been negative about the game, but I think people were just like not sure what to make of it. But after playing a bunch of matches between this and pre-release, I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Nice.
Yeah,
that seems to be the internet perception. Is like a lot of people are like, wait, hold on a second. Should we be paying attention to Exoprimal? Like right when it released, people were kind of like, hold on, everyone. I think this is really cool.
It is, and I'm not even a big multiplayer. Like Kyle, you and I are kind of like kindred spirits, and like we're not big multiplayer. Really anything, not even just shooters. Like it takes something special for me to get into a multiplayer mode, and Overwatch was one of the rare games that hooked me. Like those early years or so of Overwatch, I was like, yeah, I love this. This is it's really cheerful, it's fun. I like the cooperation aspect, and this game hits a lot of those same notes. Like they do the same thing. We're like, hey, here's play the game, or not play the game, but like here's the best player, and here's commendations for like, hey, you healed everyone, give this guy a hand, great job. And I've always liked that sort of like encouraging people for doing well, and not so much on like, oh, here's the KD ratio, and here's how bad you were, that kind of thing. And this game hits a lot of same notes. It's also plays really well. Like it just feels good to play. Like it performs really well. I'm playing on Xbox. This game is also on Game Pass, by the way, so that is it's a big help for like just trying to get a party together in a low maintenance, I guess, kind of way.
Yeah.
But like it runs well. It's really smooth. Like a lot of the just attacking feels good. Like my favorite class is Zephyr, which is like the melee class. He's got like a sword. You just go around just hacking at dinosaurs, and you can do this really sick like uppercut kick that launches a bunch of dinosaurs in the air, where like you can do air combos, or maybe your teammates can blast them out of the air. But like, it just feels good. And I've dabbled with all the classes, and I also have the 3 unlocked classes. Like the my favorite tank is this. I think it's called Muramasa, and he's got like a Sephiroth long sword, and you just go in there and just rip dinosaurs apart. And he also has this cool like kind of like harden ability where he just sort of like shields himself, and then if you slam into him, you can perform a counter and just knock the crap out of people. And like every class has its own strategy. I've liked most of what I played. I'm not a guy that generally plays tank characters, but I've liked the and I apologize, I don't know all the names, but it's the heavy gunner one. He's like the big shoulder with the chain gun. I got a cool skin for him where he has a bunch of cherry blossoms all over him, so he looks like a cherry blossom tank man. But that one's pretty fun. The healing classes are enjoyable. I like the there's one that looks just like the weird skating robot from one of the recent Transformers movies. But every class feels fun to play. It feels like the roles are pretty balanced, where it doesn't feel like you always need to have one of everything to win a match. You know, it does the Overwatch thing of telling you, like, hey, just as a heads up, you don't have any healers or you don't have any of this. But I've played matches where it was just pretty much offense focused and demolish a team, or one that was like, we had 2 healers and we did well. Like, it feels like you can make anything work depending on how well the team works together and how good the individual players are. But yeah, I'm having fun with it. I don't know why it's still, I think, like I said, people weren't sure what to make of this game, and it almost like some people maybe are afraid to admit that, like, hey, this is pretty cool, because maybe some people expected it to like be nothing or to not be great, but it's fun. And honestly, the other thing that it does for me is, as a more story-focused player, the way they integrate their narrative into it, because this game does have a story, and it's...
Yeah. That was my big question, actually. I'm glad you're touching on this, because this is what I wanted to know about. This is the make or break thing for me. It's like, will I play Exoprimal? It's like, if the story is engaging or goofy or weird or fun, like, I'll check it out, you know? So let me know.
It's a lot of those things. So the plot of this game is that you're part of this team of like exopilots who crash land on this island that has been destroyed by this like, I mean, there's like dinosaur outbreaks that have plagued the world for some reason. You don't know why, but it's just been happening for a while. And there's also this weird AI called the Leviathan, who is sort of like the game master, and that's how they sort of like, the narrative reason for why you're completing these matches over and over is that it has trapped, it's pretty much captured this island and trapped it in a weird like time bubble where it's trying to think of how to explain this, but basically they crash land there and your character gets transported back in time 3 years prior to right before the fall of the island. Like, it's like the day that the island fell, which the island itself was like this thriving city that had this big research facility that's sort of responsible for what's going on. And you're just reliving that day over and over through these war games, which are what the matches are called. And Leviathan, for whatever reason, really wants combat data for seeing how the exopilots can fight the dinosaurs. Like, it thinks that dinosaurs are the perfect opponent for these pilots. So it's like, you're going to hear like the words valuable combat data a lot from Leviathan. Like, I cannot stress enough how excited it gets about that damn combat data.
So it's Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, the movie or the book, whichever you prefer, but with dinosaurs, is what you're saying.
I've not seen either version of that or read it, but I'm going to believe you. And you're also meeting, there's like parallel dimension stuff, because when you get sent back in time, you meet a character who is from an alternate dimension who also is trapped in the bubble.
Multiverses are so hot right now.
They're
really hot.
So you're seeing like alternate versions of some of your crewmates, and so they're trying to figure out what's going on. But there's no single-player campaign. It's a multiplayer-only game. So the way the story is told is that there's a thing called the analysis map, and it's a radial sort of a flowchart that has all these unlockable cutscenes, and they connect in these different nodes. And you're basically working your way to the middle, and the middle node is presumably the ending, because it just says like how to escape, or like escape the island, basically. And so when you play matches, you unlock more scenes in the node. And like on the outer rim, it's like smaller cutscenes or like audio logs or whatever. And then those smaller scenes will connect to a bigger scene, or a bigger mystery is what they're called. Like, they're like, oh, these are the mysteries we need to solve, of like, who is Leviathan? What is the Albius Corporation, which is the corporation you work for? What happened to the island? What the hell is with the dinosaurs? And as you're unlocking scenes, you're like, okay, I'm filling up the meter. I'm almost going to solve this mystery, and we'll get to see what the answer to this is. And then that will get me closer to the how do we get the hell out of here story. And it's a pretty effective hook. Like, you know, you get your normal rewards for finishing matches. Like, you get chests. You get, like, new skins. Or you can level up each exosuit individually, too, which is nice. So if you have a favorite, you're like, I'm just going to keep working on this guy and get him up to level 20 and get new stuff for him or whatever. But also, like, the other carrot of getting more cutscenes. And I'm going to say, again, that the story is so stupid, but it knows that it's dumb. And I like that. Like, it's so wild that you're kind of like, I need to see where this goes, because like the things that they are introducing and like the outer rim, you're like, okay, I need an answer to this. Like I got one last night where there's like cave paintings that where a figure is wearing an exosuit. So you're like, wait, what? They're like, what the hell is that all about?
That's a hell of a hook. I was almost gonna say like, yeah, don't spoil it, Marcus, but I'm like, oh man, I kind of
I was like, I
want to check this out now.
Yeah, like one weird calf, like what? Okay, like this has so much potential to be like wild, and it already is like all over the place. But it's like I need to see how they get out of here. Basically, like I want to see what that last scene looks like. Like how do we escape the island? How do we beat Leviathan? And it's just I like that approach though of like implement. Like I think only Titanfall 1 has ever, or at least is the best example of like taking a multiplayer only game and trying to tell a story in that blueprint. I don't remember entirely how they did it because it's been so long, and I didn't play a ton of Titanfall 1. But I think this approach is it like works again, like having it be bundled in with the other post game rewards. Like here's 2 new cutscenes, go watch them. I think that's kind of cool. Like it kind of helps round out the package for me. But yeah, also I have to deliver a message from Alex Van Aken from Beyond the Grave. He's not dead. He just wanted everyone to know that he's also loving this game. Apparently,
hold on. Get the quote. Let's get the quote right. We got to nail this. This is important to Alex.
Okay. Should we sing this one?
No, I'm done singing.
I think it's fun to mention that if you rearrange the letters in the word Exoprimal, you can spell R.I.P. Alex. And then there's also Mo at the end, which I don't know how that fits in there.
That is so
maybe
funny.
Mo was one of the unlockable cutscenes. We're going to see a character named Mo.
Okay, here's the direct quote from Alex. You guys ready for this?
All right.
Please tell folks I think Exoprimal is real fun. Alex Van Aken.
2020
poet.
Poet.
Yes, I agree. Exoprimal is real fun.
You're making me want to try it for sure. Like I played it in beta and I liked what I played, but it was kind of one of those. It's like, yeah, this is cool. I don't know if I'll play the final release, but this is a nice little bite here of the sort of concept and the mechanics. But this year is just so chock full of good games. But I would like to see some of it. Like see some of the story and stuff.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how long it takes to finish the story, because there's a lot. Like, it says that I'm currently 20% of the way through it. You know, like there's like a meter that kind of keeps track of everything. But looking at the node, and you're like, oh wow, like I'm gonna have to play a lot more matches just to get the outer rim filled, let alone like the like center stuff, which isn't a lot, but you know, it's all feeding together. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Like, this is a multiplayer game; they want you to play at least for like the foreseeable future, or at least the next few months.
Right.
You know, on top of that, there's stuff like battle passes. There's a premium battle pass. Kyle, I know you hate battle passes and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, it is a premium game, which is kind of annoying, right? Like, it's on Game Pass.
Yeah, like it's a paid game, by the way.
If you're paying for Game Pass, you have access to it. But, like, if you are not, I believe it's a $60 game. So it's always just kind of rubs me the wrong way when there's, like, a battle pass. I don't, there's, like, a opinion piece in an upcoming issue of the magazine. It's like, I just don't like obligations in video games where it's like, you get bonuses for playing 5 days in a row, which is usually what battle passes are. I don't know what Exoprimals are, but I don't love that kind of stuff in general. Yeah,
I don't know. I haven't seen enough of it, I don't know if it does anything like that, like consecutive days logged in or anything, or like login bonus. Like, there's definitely no login bonus from what I can tell. It's kind of, from what I've said, it seems kind of like straightforward, or maybe even like kind of plain of like, hey, play a long time, you level up, here's this, and you hit the next milestone, here's this, and then the premium tier is just a separate one of those with presumably better things, you know.
Sure.
So it's kind of like, to me, that stuff's always in the background. Like, I don't care enough. It's kind of like, I don't like look in the future, like, oh, I gotta get this. It's like, whatever happens. Like, oh, I got a cool like unlock, I guess. Great. Because I just kind of like just playing the game, basically, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, just as a heads up, this is like a full price game. It's got a free battle pass and then the paid battle pass. I don't know how much the paid battle pass is. My code just kind of came with it. But yeah, outside of that stuff, like, it's fun. It's in a way, it's kind of making up for Overwatch 2 for me, because I have not played Overwatch 2.
Poor Overwatch 2.
I was like, is that an indictment? I don't know, but like I have yet to play the final version of Overwatch 2. I've only played it once in one of the betas, but like the thing that I was looking forward to was the story mode that they kicked to the curb. And outside of that, it's like, well, with everything else they've done with the game of making it more esportsy, which is like not what I wanted from Overwatch. Like I said before, the reason I liked Overwatch so much was that it kind of shunned a lot of the competitive stuff and was more about like, it's a competitive game, but it's like, hey, work together, have fun kind of a thing, right?
Sure.
And with this game hitting a lot of those same notes, both in design and gameplay, but also weaving in an actual story into it, it's kind of like, maybe this is my Overwatch 2 now, but with like significantly more dinosaurs, which I love dinosaurs too, so it works. So yeah, this is my Overwatch 2 now. So yeah, I'll be playing it. I have a review coming, in the near future. But Exoprimal, it's out now. Like I said, it's on everything except for Switch, and it's on Xbox Game Pass. So check it out there. But yeah, cool. We should play, guys. We should party up.
Yeah,
get Alex in there too.
Last time there was a game on the show where I was like, yeah, that seems cool, but I don't know if I'll play it. It was Street Fighter 6, and then I got really into it for like a week. And I always like to be like, I don't have to play every game. Sometimes you can just take a break and you don't have to. You can just, people can have a cool thing and then you can see what's happening and then it's fine. And I always end up trying. I'm like, video games are really fun. There's so many video games I have to play and they're all really good.
Enjoyable hobby.
I haven't even played a different Final Fantasy game and I got like 25 hours in Final Fantasy 16.
What am I doing with my life? Yeah. Moving on though, Kyle, you have finished Pikmin 4.
Yeah.
I know we talked about this game. Was it last week? Or the week before?
It might have been 2 weeks ago. I've talked about Pikmin a lot lately, just because I replayed 1 I played 1 for the first time when it came to Switch, and then there was a period where I could talk about like the first 2 levels of Pikmin 4, but at the time, if you're listening to this podcast on the day of release, I believe Pikmin 4 comes out tomorrow. It comes out Friday, and then the review is on GameInformer.com as of yesterday, I think, to timestamp this unnecessarily. But I really like Pikmin 4 a lot. I gave it a 9 out of 10. That's how much I liked it. One of the nicest things I can say about it is, and Marcus, I don't know if you feel this way, Charles, you as well, when I know you haven't done quite as many reviews as Marcus and I, but like, usually if I'm reviewing a game, even if I like it, once I hit credits and I've written my review, I'm kind of like, all right, I'm time to move on to the next thing, just either through obligation or just things I want to play just casually on my own. But Pikmin 4 was a game that I saw credits, wrote the review, and immediately picked it back up and continued playing. Like, I wanted to find everything. I wanted to do everything. About the only thing I didn't do was like get platinum medals on all the sort of, there's like this thing called the Dandori challenges where you collect items against an AI component, or you have to collect a certain amount of things in a certain amount of time, and you get medals for doing well on those. I didn't do like the platinum medals for those. I wasn't really interested in that. And there's also there's at least one sort of really challenging late game thing that's fully optional that I didn't do, but it's like really late game. Like, you have to collect like everything to even access it. But other than those few things, like, I did everything. Like, I got all the items. I played every level to 100%. I just really liked it. Like, I've always been kind of a casual Pikmin fan. It's only recently that I've truly decided to give myself over to Pikmin and declare myself a proper fan. But 4 is like easily like the best Pikmin game for me, at least of my opinion. Like, because of Ochi the dog, just makes managing your Pikmin like so much easier. Because as cool as it is to like have like 100 Pikmin behind you, following you everywhere you go, it can be annoying to manage them because they might get like stuck on corners, or they like don't follow you over the bridge, and all of a sudden you're like missing 6 Pikmin and you don't know why, and you have like 10 seconds to collect them before the day ends. But with Ochi, you can just press a button and all the Pikmin and your character jump on his back, and then you can just walk around and like you don't have to worry about losing Pikmin. And Ochi himself is functionally like up to, I mean, you can upgrade him. I think he starts as like, covering for 10 Pikmin, basically. So if there's some object that requires 10 Pikmin to pick up and carry back to your ship, you can just have Ochi do it, and then you can go off and do other things. And it, like, when they showed Ochi, like, in preview and in trailers and stuff like that, my reaction was very much like, oh, that's cute. Like, you have a dog with you now. It's a cute design. Great. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to say no to that.
Cute design's debatable. I don't like that he doesn't have a nose.
You don't like, and he's only got 2 legs. You don't like that?
I don't even know if I've noticed the legs. His face.
He bounces along. Yeah, he has kind of a funky walk to him.
Yeah, it's just because he has a snout, but he doesn't have a nose, and it bothers. It feels like he's incomplete.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, you just ruined Ochi for it.
Well, hey, all you gotta do is play Pikmin 4, and you'll fall in love with him all over again. But because like really, I was just like, oh, this is. I really thought it would just be like. Poochie in like the recent Yoshi game where he was just kind of like he would show up in a couple levels and it wasn't really like a big deal, but Ochi really changes how you approach Pikmin in a positive way. Like it makes Pikmin more fun because he is really genuinely helpful and he's there from the very beginning. And then like the level design is just better because it's like less confusing and the way everything looks, like every area of every level looks pretty distinct, so it's like really easy to learn the levels. They feel less like mazes. All the new Pikmin are cool. There's these sections where you go underground that the thing I kind of equate them to is shrines in Zelda, because it's like they're just little like bite size. It's like, oh, you're playing Pikmin in the main level, you have to until the end of the day to finish what you're trying to do. But once you go underground, it's like, oh, this is just sort of a short focused Pikmin sort of puzzle, quote unquote. Maybe there's some combat, there's some little puzzles in there, and they even have like a narrative conceit. It's like, when you go underground, time slows down up above ground. We don't really understand why this happens, but it's fine because it makes the game more fun. you know? So I enjoyed doing those. It's like they give you a lot of different options. You can play the main levels, you can go underground, you can do the Dandori challenges. Then there's also the nighttime sequences, which kind of play out like sorry guys, I'm like trying to remember what is the genre of video game. Tower defense. I couldn't think of the word. They kind of feel like tower defense with Pikmin, and they're fun. Those are the nighttime things are the ones that I maybe found like the most repetitive. But like the fact that it's like you can just kind of do what you want when you want. Like I'm tired of playing this version of Pikmin. I'm gonna go over here, and it's all fun. Like it's all pretty cool. So yeah, I really liked Pikmin 4. I like you're on the planet like saving people is kind of the main thrust of the game. So you're like collecting all these people and they all have personalities and they hang out by your ship between levels, and I just really enjoyed it. It kind of surprised me. I wouldn't say I had low expectations going into Pikmin 4. I just had like, yeah, Pikmin, cool. I've liked those past games. We'll see how this one is. And I walked away from it being like, that's one of my favorite games of the year. Like I would be surprised if it doesn't show up on my top 10. Yeah, Pikmin 4, really good. Like it a lot.
All right, I'm excited to try it. I'm like you. I've only ever played and beaten Pikmin 1. I've never touched 2 and 3, even though I've owned 3 on Wii U forever. Yeah. But like because of that, it's been long enough where I was like, I'm kind of like, yeah, I think I am ready to play another Pikmin game. Especially like the more you've talked about it, and I've heard other people talk about it, it's gotten me more excited about the idea of just chilling out and moving those little cute idiots around.
Well, that's the thing. They're not really idiots anymore. Like they're the smartest they've ever been, and that's why I like it so much.
Oh, yeah, they're not like getting caught in like corners and weird little
really,
geometry. You're like, oh, come on, man.
Occasionally, but like not really. Especially if you're leaning on Ochi a lot, which I did. I was like happy to just throw all my Pikmin on Ochi all the time. But yeah, and also it's like one of those, like, even if you've never played Pikmin and you're like, I should probably play the other ones first, like, nah, just go straight to 4. You'll be fine.
I don't know. I think it just dawned on me way late, but is the idea of Ochi, like, is he just the sheepdog to the sheep that are Pikmin? Is that just his role, basically, now that I think about it?
No, I mean, he doesn't herd them. He's more like your partner, which I guess you could say the same thing of a sheepdog, but he doesn't herd them. Right, he doesn't run around them and keep them in a circle. They just all jump on his back. Like it's funny because you'll be running around like riding Ochi like a dog, and he'll have 100 Pikmin on him, and it's just kind of a weird visual.
He looks like I'm editing the video review. He kind of looks like a hedgehog. Like he's got all these
almost like
pokey dudes on the back.
Yeah,
like a chia pet.
Yes.
Yeah, that's much better.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, Imagine how much easier sheep herding would be if the sheep jumped on the sheepdog's
I
back,
know, right?
and then you're just carrying him around. Also, can he, with OG, can he carry the objective objects too, or can he only carry Pikmin?
They can carry everything. Yeah, like
Okay, so you can throw like the Game Boy SP on his back and.
Well, yes, yeah. He bites them and like drags them. Yeah, and
okay.
and you can like upgrade him to a point where I think he can cover for like, I think maybe even up to 50 Pikmin. So like I would have him carrying like really heavy objects for me while I went and did other stuff with all my Pikmin. So, yeah.
All right.
Good
Well, I'm
game.
going to ask the
good dog. Good boy.
Well, before we close the book on Pikmin 4, I need to ask the $1 million question we've all been wondering: is Ochi a better good boy than Torgal from Final Fantasy?
Ooh. Now I've only played like the first maybe 4 or 5 hours of Final Fantasy 16. I would give the edge to Ochi because he is a lot more helpful. Like he is integral to Pikmin. I can't imagine Pikmin 4 without Ochi. Where as much as I like Torgal in Final Fantasy 16, he is just sort of an AI character that's sort of helping you fight to the point that I've played. I like Torgal. Torgal's awesome, but I just think he's not integral. He's just like a great bonus that makes you really like him for that reason, you know?
That's true. I agree with it. Can you pet
I think
Ochi?
you're correct. Oh, good question.
I don't know.
Or did you try to, Kyle? Were you too busy working him to the bone?
I think you can. I also don't really like. That's not really a make or break for me. Like that has that the inclusion of like being able to pet the animal in a game is like to this point is just like, well, we gotta get on that Twitter account. Like that's kind of which is not really like a gameplay focused ideation of like.
Yeah, well,
like, does that make the game better? It's like, I don't know, but you'll get on a Twitter account. I don't know if that's really makes the game, improves the game. But I know it's very important to people. I don't know off the top of my head if you can pet Ochi. But while we're continuing to talk, maybe I can pull up the game and see.
Okay, well, you heard it here, folks. Kyle hates petting animals.
If it doesn't serve a gameplay purpose, I'd like to, don't do something just to be featured on a Twitter account.
I think the urge to pet the animal is like when there's an AI, like just a random dog wandering around and you can't do anything and you just look at it. Like I think Ochi, it's better because you're like interacting with him and riding on him the whole time. Like he is a dog you're hanging out with, as opposed to like in Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, there's dogs and you can feed them, but like you can't pet them. Yeah, it feels weird because they run around and they clearly want attention.
Yeah, but that's the
like
gameplay interaction is feeding them so that they'll show you where chests are. Like there's a mechanical sort of interaction where petting is just a prompt and you press a button and then you're done. Right? Like that's what purpose does that serve?
When you see a dog in real life, Kyle. Yeah. When you see a dog in real life and it comes up to you, do you not have the instinct?
Yeah.
You're like,
do you need a reward to pet the stray dog, Kyle?
In a video game, I do.
I would say I feel this weird obligation to pet Torgal. Well, I don't want to say obligation. It feels like I don't want to, but I have caught myself to where like, and maybe because I love Torgal so much, like he's adorable and he's just a badass. But like, I will check myself every few combat encounters and be like, I have not pet Torgal in a while. Like, we just killed like 20 dudes. Like, you should be rewarded for it. I have to pet you. And I feel like this anxiety where, like, even though this is not, at least as far as I know, I'm pretty deep in Final Fantasy at this point, but, like, I'm afraid that if I don't pet him regularly, he's going to turn on me in some way. Like, he'll remember that. Like, he's not petting me as much as he used to.
So you can.
It's like a late game Life is Strange thing where it's like you didn't pet Torgal enough times, so now he's gonna kill all your friends.
Like there's a secret counter in the background, and it's like, oh, if you pet Torgal X amount of times, it affects your ending.
Oh man.
So I don't unless I'm. It doesn't look like you can pet Ochi, but you can feed him. You can give him treats.
Okay, that's just as good. You probably prefer to be eating than pet. So.
But I wonder if there's maybe while you're riding around. Maybe there's like a little animation of you petting him. I'll leave it on. I'll leave it idle for a while and see what happens.
Yeah. I bet maybe like the act of putting Pikmin on him, like they're all petting him technically, just like touching him. So he's like being pet like 100 million times basically. So I hope he likes it. Pikmin 4, everyone. It's out Friday?
Yeah, whatever
Yeah.
day that is.
It's out on Barbenheimer Day.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, that's-
well, actually, I don't think
oh
that's
my God.
true because I think they come out on Thursday.
Well, it's how movies are, where it's
Right,
like
to hit those
the
weekend,
release date is
yeah.
Friday, but it's the midnight viewing start at like 6 p.m. on Thursday. Or
I'm actually
whatever.
seeing Barbie Wednesday. I'm seeing it the 19th. I found like an
Wait,
early
what?
showing.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Wild.
Yeah.
Actually,
July 21st for Pikmin 4. Yeah.
okay. Also, I completely forgot those came out this weekend, so you both got me really excited. So I was like, oh, that's this weekend. I forgot.
Yeah. Going to see.
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
well, yeah. Maybe you can still get an early showing. Look for early showings. They have some.
Yeah. See both of those. Alrighty. Kyle, you've also played and reviewed Viewfinder, which is another game we've touched on in the past, but you have your complete thoughts now. How do you feel about the game now that you've wrapped it up?
I feel good, Marcus. I like that game as well. Like, remember at the beginning of the
Nice.
show, I said I've been playing a lot of good games. Viewfinder was one that I had seen. You see, like, it is really just interesting, even in trailer form. Like, you just have to see like 5 seconds of gameplay to be like, what is that? And if you're unfamiliar, it's a game where you can take a photograph of something, hold it up in front of your face, and press a button, and it like superimposes that environment into your environment. So if there's a picture of a bridge, you can basically use it to place bridges in the environment to solve puzzles. And that's really cool. Like, that is a cool idea. But my fear with it, which is my fear with a lot of games that are kind of like following... They're not like Portal, but they're like the same... they're the same genre. It's like interesting puzzle mechanic to make your way around an environment. And like Portal 2 is like... genuinely one of my all-time favorites ever, period. Will be on my favorite games of all time list for the rest of eternity. It's like one of those that's like locked in, like Ocarina of Time or something like that. So I like these kinds of games, but there's been a few in the past that like I like Superliminal is a good example of like another one where it's like you see a footage of that game and you're like, that is amazing, because it's like Superliminal is about your perspective on an object, and like it lets you. I can't even explain it really. It just if you look up footage of it, Maquette is another one that's like about like looping universes, and those games, those two in particular, were games that like were really cool in the first like hour, and then sort of petered out by the end, where the puzzles kind of became like maybe like they were still. I still finished both of those games, but the puzzles were too obtuse in a way where they were like just like not really fun by the end, and it was mostly like the solutions kind of ended up being like, oh, that's how that worked. Okay. Viewfinder, on the other hand, doesn't fall into that trap. It stays very consistent throughout. Like, the puzzles are novel and unique, and like use that core idea of like superimposing images within your environment to make progress in like new and interesting ways, where like the first set of levels is very different from the last set of levels, and they also don't get so obtuse that they get annoying. The closest thing to that are like there are optional puzzles, but even those are like fun and very clearly identified. Like I hit a point where I was kind of like, I just want to beat this, and I started skipping them. And that made it fun, because then I could just like focus on the puzzles I wanted to do. But I was enjoying it so much that I went back and I did all those optional puzzles and really had a good time. So I do give Viewfinder like a good recommendation. I gave it an 8.25. Like if you're like a fan of Portal or those types of games, like Viewfinder is among the better ones. Like Portal's like at the top for me, and then I would put Viewfinder pretty high, and then games like Maquette and like Superliminal I would kind of put like mid-tier. That's kind of like, not that I'm like trying to rank those games, but just to kind of give you an idea of the quality. So it's the shortcomings are like the story's kind of it has a nice conclusion, but it's pretty middling. And then there were like a couple instances where it's like I was like solving puzzles without a clear idea of like exactly what my end goal was, if that makes sense. It's like, well, I have this photo and I can put it in front of me to move forward, but I'm not really sure what I'm building towards. Like I hit that occasionally, but it really wasn't too bad. But Viewfinder, like I liked it exceeded my expectations. I went in kind of worried that it was gonna get annoying by the end, and it doesn't. It just uses the core idea in cool ways. It's short, so it really sticks to like the good stuff. There's not really a lot of excess fat on the game. It's just like every level, even the optional ones, are like solid and good and interesting. So yeah,
Awesome.
Viewfinder, cool, good game.
I'm sorry, I've been excited for that game since it's probably an Annapurna showcase like a year or two ago.
It's one of those
where
that's
it
been
first
kicking
popped up.
around for a while. Like there was like it's one of those that was like someone just shared a tweet with like a couple seconds of gameplay a long time ago, and it was like even then it was like that is interesting. I want to play that game.
Yeah, I know Alex is excited for it too, so I'm excited to check that out. I'm also glad to hear that it's on the shorter side because I feel like most puzzle games are. It's kind of like horror games, where I feel like that genre is better in shorter doses than stretching them out. I think Portal 2 is like the only real exception to that rule for the most part. Maybe the Talos Principle, but like
Portal 2 has the
Yeah.
advantage of like genuinely having some of the best writing in video games, like period.
Yeah.
So like that's gonna pull you through no matter
Yeah.
what. But
Exactly.
I think excuse me, I'm losing my voice a little bit. I think my play clock was like 3 or 4 hours, and that's doing all the puzzles, including the optional ones. I didn't find all the hidden there's little things you can find in the levels for like bonuses, but if you want to just do the puzzles, 3 or 4 hours, give or take.
Nice. Good year for puzzle games, by the way. Low key between this, Humanity,
Yeah.
Ritmos, some good stuff out there for the smarties in the room. We're all smarties, right?
I wanted to say I haven't played like a final build, but I did a preview like a month or two ago for Viewfinder. And one of the things I like that Kyle didn't mention is there's like voice notes in the levels, and that's how you like get a lot of the story to like hear about what like the characters are thinking, like the characters in the
Are these like
world
audio
that you're
logs?
inhabiting in.
Sort of?
Yeah, basically. But I liked the way they did it because it was you can basically hit play on them and then go and do the level. And I liked that it was kind of like you're listening to a podcast while you're solving this level, but it's not like it doesn't slow the game down where you have to watch a cutscene or you don't have to pause and like read everything. But it was a thing where it was like I thought it was a good unintrusive way to include a story in this where I felt like it could. I also wasn't like, and Kyle, I think you had like a similar thing just now of like I thought the story was like fine, at least at the part where I was at. It was like kind of interesting, but I wasn't like blown away by it. So the fact that I could kind of engage with it like the level I wanted to, and then just go back to like taking weird pictures and putting them and stuff, I liked that.
Yeah, the story is definitely like secondary, maybe even tertiary part of the experience.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's cool, it's interesting. I like the ending. The ending's fun, like or not fun, maybe not the right word, but like a nice conclusion. But like it's one of those things. It's like I couldn't really tell you any of the characters' names or anything like that after the fact, you know. But totally inoffensive. I'm glad it's there, even if you're not really, even if I didn't engage with it in a huge way.
Okay. That sounds like that was a good mental workout for you, Charles. And that's good because maybe it warmed you up for a game that you have been playing that tests your detective skills called Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. The remaster? Is that what we're going with? It's a remaster, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's like officially it's not. I think they're just saying it came to new consoles and they enhanced the visuals, but it's not called like Ghost Trick Phantom Detective Remastered. It's just Ghost Trick Phantom Detective, and now it's on Switch.
It's not a
PlayStation.
remake like that. We can say
definitely
for
not
sure.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
It just feels weird calling it a port because like, well, they would have had to do some work to it because it was a DS screen. You know, they reworked dual screen gameplay for a single screen,
And it looks way better for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I beat that game.
Did you play it back in the day, or is this your first time?
I did not. This is my first time playing it. It was a game I had like heard of, but I didn't really like think much of it past like the name because I was like, I don't know, there's a million. Honestly, I probably would have thought Ghost Trick was a similar game to like Fatal Frame. I don't know why. Just like the name, I was like, I don't know. It's probably some horror thing I don't care about. But yeah, it's a game. It's made by the director and some of the team that made the Ace Attorney games, and I really like the Ace Attorney games. So I was like, oh, this is a thing. I would totally love to play it. And originally I was like, I'll just play an hour or two to record some like footage for the Game Informer YouTube channel. And then I kept playing it, and it rocks. It is also a puzzle game. But I was definitely playing it for the story, not for the puzzles, because I think the puzzles were like fine, and some of them
it's
were
like the reverse of
engaging to
Viewfinder,
me,
which is just kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The basic gameplay is you're a ghost and you can possess objects in a room, and you have kind of like only so far that you can travel between the objects. There's like a little, if you're a point on the screen, there's a little line that's like a radius of that's how far you can go. And so you have to like manipulate objects to get around and do stuff. And then on top of that, you can also go into a person's corpse and then travel back in time to 4 minutes before they died. And then basically change fate so that they don't die or that something else happens instead. So the game is like this big mystery of like, you died, but you don't know why you died. And it seems like this person killed you, but you don't know why they killed you. And so it's this kind of like adventure mystery thing. And
do the people, when they come back to life, do they know that they died, or are they like oblivious to like they just go about their life like they hadn't just died?
Sometimes, because it depends on if the spirit, it regains consciousness while you're inhabiting the body, which is like a weird thing. At a certain point, they all regain consciousness and it's fine. Like while they're dead, they like wake up and realize, the spirits wake up and realize that they're dead. It's and then when they come back to life, they have all the memory of this like alternate timeline.
It's something I feel like it's common in Japanese storytelling in general, manga and anime and stuff like that, where it's like there are very specific rules and they explain them thoroughly, and then when they break those rules, they explain why they are broken in this instance thoroughly. So like when in the sort of heat of the moment when you're playing the game, it's like, yep, this all makes sense. Yep. But when someone asks you a question like, wait, do some people know that they're dead? You're kind of like, well, okay, let me think about this.
Yeah, exactly.
I only ask because I've had this. I don't know if you guys have ever had this weird, like, I guess maybe it's an existential thought, whatever you want to call it. But
an exoprimal thought?
I've always thought, like, man, what if there was a situation where I died and was brought back to life, but I didn't know because it was so instantaneous? Like, and honestly, stuff like the two things that made me think the most is Dragon Ball and Avengers Infinity War / Endgame, of like, those both had like apocalyptic events where like millions of people were wiped out instantly somehow, but then they were immediately wished back. And they have no idea that they all died. Because, like, in Dragon Ball, they'll do the thing where, like, hey, they come back with no memory that Majin Buu blew up the world or whatever happened, right? So, like, they have no idea that they died. Like, time was seamless for them, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, there was no interruption in their daily lives. But, like, a select few people know that, like, no, the planet was gone. And same with, well, I guess Endgame and Avengers, they know, but they don't know until somebody tells them, right? Otherwise, like, it's like literally until you step outside and go like, wait, my house isn't my house anymore because it turns out I was gone for 5 years, but nothing changed for me. And I don't know. I was like, man, that could have happened to us at any point and we would have no idea. Like, what if something like that existed? And we just would be none the wiser. I'm like weirdly obsessed with that thought for some reason. So.
I don't mean to make you feel weird about this. I've never had that thought. That's never been a thing that crossed my mind, but I'm so fascinated by the concept. I just started rewatching Avatar: The Last Airbender, and that's kind of like Aang's whole thing of he like freaks out, runs away one day, and then gets sealed in an iceberg, and then comes out and he just wants to slide on penguins, and they're like, "Oh, dude, it's been 100 years."
Yeah, it's like Captain America.
Yeah.
Is it a fear of yours, Marcus?
No, it's not a fear. It's just fascinating to me to be like, you know, if to go back to Dragon Ball, like if there was a Dragon Ball situation that we just were not aware of, like there's these things that could wipe us out and bring us back, and only a select few people knew about it, and something happened where the world exploded and then was fixed, and we wouldn't know. Like what if something like that happened and I just was brought back to life and I just don't remember it? But like I died before.
Ignorance is bliss, man. You know.
Yeah, I mean that's the ultimate lesson. Right? Like if I found out, would it be like, huh? Well, how about that? You know, like how do you react to that? I don't know.
There is a thing, to pull it back to Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. One of the characters just keeps dying. And you keep encountering her, and you're like, dude, you died for the 4th time. She's like, oh yeah, I mean, I knew you'd come save me.
She knows that she's died.
Yeah.
Is she like
she's
over
like,
it
I mean,
it's
gonna be fine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, it's also kind of like, there's one character who gets he gets injured and then he dies. And then you can follow his death back to where he gets injured and find that someone else died and then jump into their corpse and go back. Like, you can do, like, consecutive jump backs. But if you undo the death of the first person, the second guy is still injured. And so it's a thing of, like, he's like, man, I wish I had just died instead of getting injured, because then you would have been able to bring me back instantly.
What a weird sentence. I wish I died instead of getting injured.
People get real comfortable with the resurrection ghost real fast in that game.
I'm just glad to hear, Charles, that like you finished it and enjoyed it, because that's like Ghost Trick is one of those games where it's like I have a really fond memory of playing it for the first time. It's one of those, like, I might not remember all the details. I remember the ending pretty well because the ending is very strong. And like it's one of those that's like I think it's good and I bet it would hold up, but it's nice to like get your perspective of someone who didn't play it originally and be like, no, yeah, still good, still fun.
I wanted to ask, like, have you played the remaster at all, Kyle? Because I would like to know how it translates, like, the dual screen gameplay to a single screen. Like, was the dual screen ever important in the original?
Not really. I mean, like, because like you can kind of. I mean, we don't need to dive into how it works mechanically, but it's one that translated very easily to like a control stick. Basically, it doesn't feel like some radical reinvention. They did port it to iPhone a couple years ago.
Okay.
And so I think this is actually probably more like a port of that iPhone version, but even that is like didn't really need a touchscreen necessarily. So, yeah.
And the Switch does have touch controls, so if that's like a thing that you're really passionate about for whatever reason, which I don't think you would be because it's not.
Well, I think
not
Charles,
really thing,
unless I'm misremembering, we recorded the new Gameplay Today video of it, and I think I brought up touchscreen, and your reaction was like, I think so, and then you pulled out your Switch and like tried it. Like the fact that you like didn't even think to try it was like, you know, until I mentioned it, like shows how crucial the touchscreen is, and where it is not particularly crucial, but
yeah. But yeah, I really liked it. The ending, as Kyle mentioned, is bonkers. It's one of those things too where it's like I can't talk to anyone about this because it's like if you've played it, I guess you would know, but it's not. There's so many things where they set up this rule and this rule and this character and this rule and this character comes back and it goes so far in that I'm like, bro, there's a lamp tutorial. The lamp gives you tutorial at the beginning of the game. The identity of that lamp is crazy. And if you played the game, you're like, dude, that's a crazy lamp.
But it's funny because if you had played that game a year ago, it would have been like, go wild, spoil everything, tweet about it as much as you want. But the fact that they like ported it recently, it's like, well, now I can't because now people might actually want to play it without spoilers.
Yeah, because I've always wanted to play it. It's been on my like old like to get lists. Like I think it was on my Amazon wish list for a while. So when they announced this rematch, I was like, oh, perfect, I'll just play this one. So I'm glad to hear that it seems like it holds up. And I've never heard anyone talk about the story much or the ending, so that makes me excited if it ends on like a strong note. And I'm also a huge Ace Attorney fan, so
you should.
You know, it's got that going for
it. There's something about Shu Takumi, who's the director, and all of his games. It's like, this is what we're dealing with now. But there was an incident 10 years ago. And boy, if you figure out what happened in that incident, and everyone's like, okay, we'll ignore that. And then the very end of the game, it's like, we actually can't solve this mystery until we go back and figure out what happened at the incident 10 years ago.
We all died and were brought back and didn't realize it.
Truly, of the like 5 or 6 games I played that he did, I think almost every single one that's an incident. Maybe Ace Attorney 2, it's not a thing, but it's definitely a thing in 1, 3, 4. Great Ace Attorney,
I was going to mention Ace Attorney 3 as a pretty wild one.
Ace Attorney 3 goes back to the thing they go back to in Ace Attorney 1. Yeah, anyways.
Awesome. All right. Ace Attorney. Ghost Trick, Phantom Detective. Out now on Switch. And just Switch, right? It's not... Is it
PlayStation.
Is it
PS4.
PlayStation 2?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's on all, PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, PC.
Xbox as well? I don't know. Just...
I can double check real quick.
Okay. I don't know why. I've only associated, maybe because the original game was only on DS, it's tied to Nintendo, that game.
Yeah. What'd you play it on, Charles?
I played it on Switch
it's
because I tested the touchscreen that time.
I've said...
Yeah, it is on Xbox.
Oh, it is.
One.
Okay. I say this occasionally where I don't know what the metric is. I don't know why I say this phrase, but it feels like a good Switch game. Like, I don't know what makes it... be better on Switch,
I
but
feel
it's
like
just
that
like
needs
one
to
of
be,
those,
like-
you know.
That should be like a Nintendo seal style statement. Like if I see a game box that has a gold seal that says "Great on Switch," that
But
would
like, there's
be a
just some
selling
Yes.
point.
games that I'm just like, that should be on Switch. It's like, why? Why is it
Yeah.
better on Switch and not Xbox? Why does Exoprimal not feel like a game that belongs on Switch? And
What
it's
is
like,
bad on
Definitely.
Switch exactly?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
So-
that my phrase doesn't make any
like,
sense.
This is a bad Switch game, and not even just for the tech reason, just because like you don't want to play this portable. You know?
God,
I
you don't
think
want to
it's-
be able
I
to
think
play this
part of it
whenever
is
you
it's-
want, wherever you want. That's too much power.
It's like nice bite-sized chunks, and it's like I think there's a whimsy element where it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
no, that's a Switch game. Exoprimal sounds goofy, but definitely low on whimsy. Actually, maybe there's more whimsy than I'm giving it credit for, but not Switch whimsy.
Hold on, would
you know?
Exoprimal be a great Switch game?
I mean, Overwatch is on Switch, so I haven't.
It's online, which I think immediately for me disqualifies any Switch release.
Also, child, think about the idea of someone playing a Switch game, having so much fun, and then at some point pointing at their screen and saying, "Now that's a Switch game," like to themselves, no one else. Just-
silent room, 2 a.m. That's a Switch game.
last game we'll talk about on the show. Kyle, you've been playing a game I've been looking forward to, Gunbrella.
Right, yeah. I think I talked about it in preview capacity. I hadn't. I think there's a demo, or there was a demo at one time.
I think it was Steam Next Fest that had a demo, I think.
That sounds right. Yeah, I didn't play that, so this is my first time playing it, and I was very quickly like, oh, I like this because it has I think something you and I, Marcus, appreciate, which is like Mega Man X vibes, which I didn't
Yeah.
expect because it's like there's you dash a lot, like you use your umbrella to like dash up in the air or dash left and right, and you can wall jump, so it's like.
Right.
Okay, cool. Like, I'm on board. I love wall jumping and then using my umbrella to, like, dash up into the air. But then the
Yeah.
things...
Like in real life.
Just like in real life, yeah. And those things are great. And then the thing that's kind of, like, hooking me in more than I expected is, like, the tone of the game. I wasn't expecting this, which is maybe my lack of research, but, like, it feels kind of like Hotline Miami a little bit. Where it's like, and the soundtrack is kind of similar, which is like really high praise. I recognize because like Hotline Miami has a great soundtrack.
When I think of tone of Hotline Miami, I think of like some really messed up things. Is
Yeah.
it like dark?
It is dark. Like the soundtrack's kind of similar. It's a high speed. Like you can take a lot of damage quickly if you're not paying attention. You benefit by you have a shotgun that is really good close range and doesn't have any long range. So like a lot of the game is like dashing in with your umbrella and then blasting a character fast, and then they blow up into a bunch of chunks. And then in terms of the story, like currently I'm like pursuing this cult that's like sacrificing people, and it's like weirdly dark and violent. I guess the pun of the title made me think it was
Yeah.
going to be a goofier, fun game. And
Me
there
too,
is some lightness to it. Like I've met some characters that have funny dialogue and stuff, but it's like overall the tone is much more like violent and dark than I expected, and I'm kind of liking it for that reason. Not to
Okay, 'cause this is
call
also
myself a
the-
sicko, but
This is the team that made Gato Roboto, which was the sort of like Metroid.
Yeah, I like that
inspired-
game.
like Metroid 2 in particularly.
yeah, that's a
where he
cool
plays
game.
the
I like
cat.
Gato Roboto.
Yeah, I like that game too. He played this cat in a mech suit. So because that's so goofy, that's why I thought Gunbrella would also be like similarly silly.
I mean, like I said, it has jokes, but like overall, it's like a widowed guy. Like you lost your wife, and you're on. I don't even really know what my mission is, but like the world is dour and dark, and the soundtrack is like gloomy and it's kind of violent. But then characters will have jokes, like when you go talk to them, that they'll have like a weird bit of dialogue and.
Did they make jokes about your dead wife?
No, they don't. They don't make jokes about that, but they make just like fourth wall.
Nice umbrella. Was that your dead wife's?
Just-
Joke.
is that what you guys think is funny? You guys are
It's
disgusting.
funny.
But no, they'll just like even like fourth wall-y stuff. Like there's these two characters I came across who were like having a conversation and like revealing details that I needed to learn. Just passively in the environment, right? Text boxes over their head, just going like they're having a conversation. And I went up and talked to them, and the guy was like, "Hey, can't you see we're having a conversation here?" now we have to start over. And then their conversation starts over, so I had to wait a while to see like the important detail that they were getting to, which feels like a very silly kind of video game interaction, you know, where it's like, hey, we're stuck in this endless looping conversation, but if you interrupt us, we're going to start over. Like, that's kind of like the level of joke we're getting at here, which is the kind of joke I like, where it's like, yeah, let's play with the medium and make jokes about the medium. So, yeah, so all of that to say, so far so good in Gunbrella. I was on board immediately with the mechanics, just because it feels kind of Mega Man X-y, and it feels really good. The platforming's really good. The shooting's really good. But then, like, once you get past that, then you kind of walk into this area, this room, so to speak, where you're like, what is this world? Like, why is it so dark and oppressing? I was not expecting this.
Yeah, I'm surprised, but I'm excited, man. Does that have a release date yet, or is that still like 2023, like tentative?
I don't think it has a release date. Let's see, Gunbrella on Steam. I'll pull it up.
I do have it pulled up, and it just says 2023
right
right
now.
now.
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully soon. I like what I've played so far, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I looking at it, it reminds me kind of Katana Zero, just in terms of like the tone. I don't know if either of you played that. It's like a pixely action game.
It's one that's like it's one of those that's like I'm on my wish lists, because it's like I know I should play it because I've heard good things about it. One of those kinds of games, you know.
Mm-hmm. And I will say, like Katana Zero, this does seem like a good Switch game. This does seem like it would good.
It's got the seal.
It's got the seal.
There is whimsy, dark whimsy. But
does it come into Switch? Usually those Devolver games like this are like, yeah, it is coming to Switch. Okay, good.
There we go.
Does it have a release date on Switch, I wonder? Nope, just 2023. Okay.
Nice.
I wonder if they're gonna do like a shadow drop.
Yeah, it could be.
Like we're gonna get a Nintendo Direct or something, and it'll be like out now.
Heck yeah. Go hang with your dead wife's umbrella.
Was it her umbrella?
I don't think so. I don't know where you guys are getting this from.
Maybe what if it's a Bionic Commando twist where you find out your dead wife is in the umbrella?
Oh, we can only hope.
Whoa.
Only hope.
Yeah. They played that game where it was like, you know what was the best part of this game was that particular story twist. We thought we should really bring that back.
Everyone's favorite part of that game, yeah.
Alrighty, that is the games. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and do some housekeeping and wrap up with a few listener emails. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back to the Game Informer Show. We're going to do some housekeeping here. We're going to pay the bills, tell you where you can find us and read us and see us. Is there any other way you can sense Game Informer, guys? There's no way to smell us yet, right?
Well, you're hearing us now. Did we cover that one? Did you say hearing?
Yeah,
Hear?
I did say hearing
Okay,
us.
okay.
Taste us.
I didn't.
The
sign up
select
for that.
Probably
few can do that.
If you can open up my Twitter and lick your phone, but I don't know if it's gonna taste unlike just a normal phone.
Don't do
I
that.
think it might taste like whatever your phone rubbed up against last.
So step 1, rub your phone on like frosting or something. Step
God.
2, open up my Twitter. Step 3, profit.
Well, yes. So, check us out. By the way, shout out. We've been saying this lately, but we can't stress enough that single issues of Game Informer magazine are now available for $5.99 on GameStop.com/Game Informer. For those of you that are not subscribed to the magazine but still want to support us, you can do that. We've got, I believe, our most Armored Core is up now.
Yeah, I was just checking. Let's see.
But, we've got our most recent issues like Final Fantasy 16, Dead Island 2, Resident Evil 4, Diablo 4, all up there. Like I said, it's a great way to support Game Informer directly, as well as, it's a non-committal way to keep up with all of our awesome magazine features, and even just to collect them because the cover art is so cool. Some people like to frame them. I like to do that. Some of us like to do that. So, go pick those things up. Give us a helping hand. We greatly appreciate it. Otherwise, be sure to check us out on our social channels like twitch.tv/Game Informer. We've got our super replay of Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts going strong, Kyle. We hit episode 10 last week. We're getting jiggy with it every Friday on Twitch. I didn't just say that, by the way. It's a reference.
You collect jiggies, to be clear.
I assumed.
Yes. I know you're young or you're old enough, Kyle, to appreciate a getting jiggy with it reference. So yeah, to check out our streams there. Also, check us out on social media. We're on Twitter, Instagram, and we are now on Threads, which is it's Meta, right? I'm probably the worst person
Yeah.
to do like a social read,
It's
but
like
Meta.
Instagram, right?
I
It's
mean,
like-
Meta owns it. It's like
yeah,
Facebook.
but it is
Yeah, but it's-
directly connected to Instagram. Like,
Gotcha.
you know, which we actually haven't. We're on there. We're gonna start sort of taking it seriously soon. And then Blue Sky as well. I've been throwing
Yes.
our reviews and major features up on Blue Sky, so follow us there as well.
Yeah, and also follow us on TikTok.
Yep.
Purple TikTok. You can follow some of the editors there. I'm only on Twitter for now because I'm a loser, but you can find me on Twitter at Marcus Stewart 7. That's the number 7. Kyle, where are you at on? Because you're on Threads, are you not?
Yeah, I just always sign up for everything. Kyle M. Hilliard in some instances, Kyle Hilliard in others. You can follow. I have been posting everywhere like a maniac. Usually the same thing to all the different platforms because I'm just waiting for Twitter to die and for another one to sort of emerge and be like, okay, I'm already there. But we'll see how that goes.
Right. And Charles, where can people find you on the socials?
I am also basically everywhere. I'm ChuckDuck365. I've still been using Twitter because I haven't really gotten comfortable anywhere else, but I am in the other places, and I'll probably eventually use it. But yeah.
Nice. So yeah, follow us there. Greatly appreciated. Also, shout out to our amazing editor, Matt Storm, a.k.a. DJ Stormageddon. Keep up with their podcast, Fun and Games, as well as their BioWare podcast, Reignite. Great dude. Support them. And this is the part of the show where we dive into some listener questions. If you want to ask us a question, you can do it two ways. You can either email us at podcast@GameInformer.com, or if you're part of the Game Informer Discord channel, which you can gain access to by subscribing to us on Twitch, you can head to the Game Informer Shows tab and drop a question. We usually do a call for questions every week right before we record an episode. And yeah, this is sort of the part of the show where you can influence what we talk about. So our first question is via email. This is from Mike Boyle saying, "Hello, everybody at GI. First, always love listening to you guys every week, especially my fellow wrestling fan, Marcus. Shout out. My question for you guys is there a game in a series that is generally considered the weakest of the entries, but might actually be your favorite? For example, my favorite is Dragon Age 2 of the Dragon Age series. I like the shorter story, and I thought the side characters are better. So, a series where you prefer what is considered the weakest entry.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Marcus.
I would say I was thinking about this, and I think the best answer I have, at least of all the series I played, is maybe, and this might even be the weakest anymore, but like for a long time it was Halo 4, where when that game came out, and I say this as someone that played the Halo campaigns way later than most. Like I didn't play, because I never had the original Xbox, and I got my 360 kind of late. So up to that point, my experience with Halo was just like LAN parties with friends. So I never really played the story, but had friends like, raving about it and stuff. And so when the Master Chief Collection came out, I was like, oh, perfect. I can finally play the story and see what the hype is. And as games, I was like, okay, these are obviously dated and they show their age. But then once you get to Halo 4, I was like, oh, this is the most fun because it plays like a modern shooter.
Oh, interesting.
And I actually thought the Prometheans were like fun enemies to fight. Like visually they look cool, and I like their weapons, and they blow up real cool. And again, this is going to be the hot take. It was the first time I actually kind of cared about the story. I really don't care about Halo's story. I know people do. I want it to because of all the hype, but I don't see it. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's fine. But, like, the thing with Cortana, her whole shtick about, like, oh, I'm going nuts or whatever her corruption thing was, and Master Chief just trying to help her friend, like, that spoke to me more than anything that has ever happened to Halo. Of like, okay, I can connect with that of, like, a guy wanting to help his friend. And, I've gotten to see that bond. And, like, that story propelled me through that game because I really wanted to see where that was going to go. And granted, it ended kind of dumb. But It had me more than any of the like Covenant War whatever stuff that happened in the first 3 games. So I actually walked away with maybe a better impression of Halo 4. And I went into that being like, oh, this is where people said like things went downhill, right? I guess I better be ready. And I was like, oh, I'm fine with this. I like this story better, I think. So I guess Halo 4 is my answer for that.
Yeah, that's a good one. I don't know if I have like, I don't know if I have a favorite like least liked entry in a franchise, but I do have many that are like I'm totally fine with, right? Like Fable 3 I think is like fine. Is a solid game, and where everyone is like, worse than the series, although everyone kind of forgets about that Kinect game. That's neither here nor there. But and then stuff like another one is like Devil May Cry 2. When it came out at the time, I was like, this is fun, you know. Like, but I wasn't like I was never Devil May Cry 1. I was like totally fine with, if that makes sense. It did not change my world as it did for many. And so when 2 came out, I was like, yeah, I like he looks older, he's got kind of a cool style. I played it and beat it and was like didn't even really think too much about it one way or another, you know. Maybe if I went back to it, that would be a different story, but so yeah, those are some examples. But I would never call like Fable 3 or Devil May Cry 2 my favorite. It's more that I'm just like, these are fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm kind of in the similar vein where it's probably not my favorite, but I definitely have a big soft spot for it. I haven't played every Sonic game, but I played Sonic and the Black Knight at the exact correct age. It was literally like the month of I think it came out in 2009.
Sounds right.
It might be a little earlier than that. Let me see.
No, because it was after Sonic 06. I know.
Yeah,
that.
it was 2009, March 3rd, 2009.
Okay.
It's a Wii game, right?
My birthday, only on Wii. My birthday is March 29th, and so what happened was like a week or 2 before my birthday, my dad walks into Toys R Us and is like, "Hey, I got a kid turning 9. He has a Wii. What's a good game to get him?" The Toys R Us guy was like, "Oh, you gotta get him Sonic and the Black Knight." So it was a thing I had never heard of. Open it up and I'm like, "Bro, Sonic's got a sword," and later found out I don't think people think it's the worst game in this series, but it's not like definitely not in a lot of people's top ones. But it was a thing where every time I went back to it, I was like, this is so cool. And it's also like they take like Sonic characters and like Knuckles isn't even called Knuckles. He's just Sir Gawain. And Shadow the Hedgehog is just Sir Lancelot.
Oh, so they just replaced
Percival.
historical figures with them?
Have you played this game at all?
No, Charles, no one has played this game.
I've seen like out of context cutscenes from it, but like.
But so it's a King Arthur. It's just the King Arthur mythos, but with Sonic characters sort of playing the roles, I guess.
So the plot on Wikipedia, the first part, it says, a wizard named Merlina, granddaughter of Merlin, attempts to flee from a Black Knight and his forces. Cornered, she performs a spell, casting forth a champion to save her, summoning Sonic the Hedgehog from his universe. So Sonic is summoned out of his world into this King Arthur world, and it's like this alternate reality where all the Sonic characters are like Knights of the Round Table.
So wait.
And Sonic gets a sword, and it's this gameplay where you go around and you like just are slashing in like normal Sonic gameplay.
That's so weird. I have so many questions. God, I was gonna say, like, were they already Sonic characters in the world, or did Sonic arriving transform all the people into his friends?
I think they were already there.
Because that's even weirder, honestly, if they were already echidnas and foxes, but Sonic
Marcus,
showing up.
I'm looking it up on eBay for potential super replay. It's only like $12.
Oh my god!
So I might have to have Charles come play some Sonic and the Black Knight.
I would give anything.
If you got excited, if you saw Sonic with a sword, you were like, Sonic with a sword, what? You should check out a little game called Shadow the Hedgehog.
I was going to say the same thing.
So, I definitely should. It was just a thing of like, as a 9-year-old, I didn't think guns were cool. Maybe if that game came out when I was
That's a good mentality for a 9-year-old. You know, maybe I appreciate
if Shadow the Hedgehog came out when I was like 13, I would have been like, hell yeah, man.
See, Kyle and I grew up in the 90s where guns were maybe too cool.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, they messed up.
Yeah,
thanks, Wachowskis.
We need to get these sword-loving kids back in business. Alrighty. So thank you for sending that, Mike. Our next question is from Judonkadonk in Discord. Short and sweet. What task in real life would you want Pikmin for?
The
Now,
dishes.
before you answer,
too late.
I need to establish now, if Pikmin are in real life, are they to scale? Like, because in Pikmin, they're like tiny.
Yeah.
So like, are they tiny to us to where like they would be ants? Or are they to scale, like, are we to scale of Olimar where they come up to like our knees or however tall they are? Because that's going to change the tasks that they get.
Well, yes and no. I think they are to scale. They are not to scale because Pikmin are Pikmin, right? Like,
Right. So like for us,
they seem like they exist on Earth even. So if we had
Right.
Pikmin in real life, they would be ant-sized, I think.
okay, so that's what we're keeping in
Yeah,
mind.
but you could grab a fistful of them and throw them at, I don't know, the dishes, and they would just carry all the dishes.
I'm sure you
into
could
the
ask them
dishwasher.
politely instead of chucking them at your plate.
Look,
Oh, okay.
they only understand one language, and that's being thrown at something, and then they realize they have to carry it for some reason.
And whistle.
That's right, and whistle. Yes, okay, good point.
Oh, I can't
Throw
whistle,
them.
so I gotta just gonna be throwing them.
Well,
guess.
they have physical whistles in their helmets, which is such a weird thing that like I always thought was funny. Is there are space travelers who had whistles built into their helmets, and then when they crash land on this planet, it's like just what are the odds that you happen to have a whistle built into your helmet that would perfectly work with these little creatures?
right.
Also, that a creature's survival instinct would be like, loud sound, run into that. I feel like every instinct in my body, if I heard a big thing, I'm like, I gotta get away from that. That's scary, shrill sound.
Okay, so you say dishes, Kyle? Is that your
Dishes,
number one?
yeah. Maybe it's just because I'm way behind on dishes right now, and my sink is like full of dishes at this very moment. But I would love to just chuck a handful of blue Pikmin at the dishes and have them take care of it for me.
I feel like dusting would be useful. You know, there's so many nooks and crannies in your house. You're like, oh, I could reach, but I don't want to. I gotta stand on something or get a long rod. And you're like, you could just tell Pikmin to climb up there. Or, this is relevant to me, maybe dental work. Like, if you could, like, instead of paying a bunch of money, you could just, like, trust the Pikmin. Like, you just open your mouth. Maybe even take a nap, because you could probably trust them to not, like, screw
They're not
you
violent
up.
creatures.
Like, I'm gonna sleep, have my mouth open. You guys get in there and just clean up.
So
you know?
there's rock Pikmin that you will throw at granite walls to break them, and you throw the Pikmin at the wall. But then what they do is they get in a loop where they just throw their bodies at the wall to break the wall. If that makes sense, like they're not sitting there hammering with their arms. They get in a loop where they throw themselves at the wall, walk a couple feet away, throw themselves at the wall. So what I'm suggesting, Marcus, is that's what they would do with your teeth. Is they would go in your mouth and just throw themselves at your tooth until it's shattered.
Oh, okay.
And then the flying Pikmin take the bits
There you
out.
go. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds great.
I would have them take out the trash, because if back when I lived in a house, it wasn't that big of a deal because it was just like I just go out the back door and put the dumpster there. But now I live in an apartment, it's like I gotta walk through all the halls or go to the stairs or whatever. So I just take like, I don't know, 2,000 Pikmin. I don't know how much it would take to carry a heavy trash
Well, you
bag,
get the purple
throw
ones.
them
The
at
purple ones are equivalent to 100 Pikmin. So you get like 100 purple
sick.
Pikmin. Boom. There you
Yeah,
go.
throw them at this, give them an hour because of the scale of how long it takes.
To the point where
Also,
you
I don't know
probably
if
should have
Pikmin
just
can-
taken it yourself. If
Yeah,
you'd
I don't
done
know if they
faster.
can go downstairs.
Well, you can also just throw like a
But-
ton of red Pikmin at it, and then they just take each trash item individually. You know, and because they'll come back on their
Interesting.
own and keep the loop going. It'll just take a long time.
Oh, like maybe you don't even have a trash can in that case. Maybe whatever trash you have, you just throw it into the assembly
Oh,
line. Like you have an
piecemeal.
assembly line of red Pikmin,
you
and you just
go.
carry it outside. Like you're just throwing trash in the ground constantly.
Now, one more thing. We're so big, we could fit the thing in our hand with Pikmin. I take 100 red Pikmin, sprinkle it on my empty can, throw it out the window, so they don't even have to walk around. Okay, but then is the can gonna crush and kill them?
I mean, not the fall.
Well, if they're all
The fall
together,
wouldn't
there's
kill
no
them?
fall damage in Pikmin.
They don't take fall damage.
Okay.
I don't think so, anyway.
I don't know if I want to see the little ghost in real life. I feel like it's gonna be heartbreaking. Like,
True.
yeah. Also, I think the last thing is that I would have them kill things in my house that I don't want because I'm
Oh,
Bugs and
yeah.
yeah, like a big old like
Yeah.
if a big old roach or spider came in, you could be like, get that, please, deal with that. I don't even want to see it. Just carry it outside, do what you got to do, and then you can see them do their little leaf head thing over and over. That's always fun. Our last question comes from Mash Start Button from Discord. A two-parter. First, in honor of Exoprimal, what's your favorite dinosaur and why? And also, if you could design your own mech, what super weapon would you have? Rocket punches, kicks, beam cannon, laser eyes? So we'll start with favorite dinosaur. Mine, growing up, it was a Triceratops. I thought, because it's like the rival to the T-Rex. So I always thought that was cool. I used to have the little plastic, the toy things. You pit them against each other. You're like, yeah, this thing can stab this thing. Take that, stupid T-Rex. So yeah, I think maybe these days it's probably like a Velociraptor. Specifically, I guess Jurassic Park's version of it, which I forget what the real animal that it's based on, because it's not a Velociraptor. Like the real Velociraptor's like tiny.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I said it earlier, Ankylosaurus, because it has my name in it.
Is that really the only reason?
Yeah, let's do it.
That's a good reason.
I mean, it's not bad. I'm just I'm judging your dinosaur choices.
I don't really identify it like with a dinosaur. I want to go with like, I'll just go like Brontosaurus because they're pretty long and I'm pretty tall, so I feel like I can relate to them on that. But
it would be the one I'd most
I was
want
gonna
to
say,
meet, I think.
You would want to meet them?
Brontosaurus,
I guess that's
yeah.
fair.
I don't want to meet a T-Rex.
Does
or a
the
Velociraptor.
scene in Jurassic Park when they see it for the first time and they're just like so in awe? Does that influence that? 'Cause it would me. Like I was like, I think I would have that same reaction if I saw that thing.
Well, also, they seem to be friendly, is the other thing.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you definitely want to meet an herbivore.
Yeah.
That their reaction getting out of the car, that's what it was like meeting my girlfriend's family for the first time.
Them to you.
You're glad you're like doing this with your glasses. Oh.
Yeah. He's so tall. Yeah. No,
Okay. And for your mech suit, what's your ultimate weapon? What's your thing?
Are there any limitations on this? Are we like going like Iron Man rules,
Yeah, I
or
guess
is this
whatever
just
you
like
think you
a
could slap on
superpower?
like Gundam gets pretty wild, right? Like, isn't there a Gundam with like angel wings for some reason? So,
I mean, I would just want to be able to leap like hundreds of feet in the air, like borderline fly.
you just want like good jet boots.
Yeah, and then like that would help me softly land, right? Like I just want to be able to like maybe even more than flying. I think like just being able to
Really?
leap would be just fun, you know?
Would you use it offensively, like to stomp on like a monster or something, or no?
No, just like going to the grocery store or something. Like it would just
You probably
be,
kill a few people jumping and landing a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I would get
You
good
really
at
have to
that.
aim.
Depends
You
how big
really
the
have to
mech
be
is,
careful
yeah.
with your landings.
Yeah. But I would just be running errands. I'm not going into a war zone. I just want to be able to leap and jump. You know, that'd be fun. That'd be cool.
Okay. I feel like the coolest thing that a lot of mech suits have are a sword. And it's a sword that's not even attached to the suit. Like, I've always thought it was silly but cool to have a weapon that was not integrated into the mech suit. Like, because then it's like,
Yeah,
it's the
yeah.
same... Like, you're adopting all the same problems that a human being has of, like, having to unsheath a sword, and if they lose the sword, then, like, the enemy could use it. It's like, why wouldn't it just come out of their arm or transform into that weapon? But at the same time, it's so cool because you're like, somebody sat down and built this, and like, yeah, it should have a physical sheath that it puts its detachable sword into, because that's good design for some reason. Like, it's so stupid that it's cool. So I think I will, even though I'm like railing against it, I think I also would like a detachable mech sword.
I appreciate that you were like, these are all the reasons this doesn't make sense, and it makes me want it more. You're like straight up like, this is improbable and I like it. I think thinking about it, I think I would do like, how big is this mech also? Because I feel like it can really just be like an exoskeleton.
I
or
guess
it can be like
if
a
we're using
Gundam.
Exoprimal, they're like a little bit bigger than human size. They're like Iron Man, like that.
Yeah,
like
okay.
that kind of, yeah.
I want back boosters on my back and legs to be like that guy from My Hero Academia who can like run really fast because he's got like the engines, and I think that would just be really fun to have, like, because I feel like running isn't fun, but if I had jet boosters, I would run all the time, just because it'd be like running on one of those like moving sidewalks at the airport where it's like, I feel so fast right now. I feel like if I was already good at being fast, I would do it all the time, and also then it would double as like going to the store.
Would you be doing the like sort of like Shadow the Hedgehog, like skating sort of run?
Yeah.
With the boosters.
Yeah. Okay. You get a sword. I'll get a gun. I'll be the Shadow to your Sonic.
Also,
in the jump everywhere.
In the My Hero Academia context, he's one of the characters that just like looks like a normal person, you know, where it's like I would love Froppy's abilities, but I don't really want to look like a frog if I could help it, you know.
Yeah.
Awesome. I still need to watch that show. It's on my list.
I have fallen off recently. I'm not caught up, but that's a good show.
Nice. Alrighty. Well, that wraps up this episode. Thank you for listening, everyone. We'll be back next Thursday. Same Game Informer show time, same Game Informer show channel. You know the ones, which I guess is YouTube, which is what you're watching this on. So yeah, thank you for joining me, Kyle and Charles. Kyle, thank you again for lending your amazing voice. We will never forget it. And I mean it literally because now it lives on the internet forever. We can pull it up whenever we want. So
that'll be a great TikTok.
I think we'll play it at your funeral. if you allow us to do that. I guess you
I have a lot of like Game Informer archive videos that are just truly embarrassing that could be played at my funeral.
Okay.
One involving blue face paint and singing, actually. Now that I think about it. I won't go into more detail, but if you know Game Informer, you know what I'm talking about.
Okay, well, go look those up until next week. And thanks for listening, everyone.
You don't have to look them up.
And thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you next week. Have a good one. Bye-bye.